All right, everybody, we're back with our second guest on Inside Bodybuilding, and it is what we like to call a friend of the show. Been on the show one time, and we decided we'd have him back on again. IFBB Pro, Dusty Hanshaw. Welcome to the show, Dusty.
Thank you much. Always good to get the call back. It's like, just like when you have a long night in Vegas, when she calls back, you did it well.
It's validation. It's validation. You don't suck.
One more shot.
Yeah. It either means it went extremely well or extremely terribly. We have to say,
yeah. Hey, so you're getting ready for your big pro debut.
Yep.
Are you excited? Anxiety? What are you thinking going into it?
I'm actually real happy. Things have been clicking along really well. I'm changing faster than usual, which is nice. Downside, of course, I've been dealing with a injury for about 3 weeks that's hindered things. But just nothing that slowed down prep, just changed how I have to approach training and things like that. So, like I gotta drive that home before it sounds like a food poisoning incident where I'm adding my excuse 4 weeks out. It hasn't slowed me down. It's just been a little bit of a hindrance. But other than that, things are really going well.
Good. We want to talk about that injury in a little bit. I know I'm sure you don't want to touch on it too much, but I believe it was Ron Partlow who mentioned on one of our other shows that you, him, and Jose, I think it was you, had Chris Aceto's all-time worst start of prep picks.
Yes, I tend to do that every year.
How gross were you for this show?
This time I was just small and fat as opposed to big and fat. So I would say it was worse than usual. In fact, because I care so much, I put a picture up, which I'll repost the day this airs just so people can see it. But I put a picture up comparing when I came back from Australia to, I'll do a current one now. But I mean, it was definitely, I did think it was like 6 or 8 weeks apart, the one I already put up. And it really showed. Because what I did is I took 4 weeks off from training, which I always do. And when I take off from training, I just eat how I feel and if I want to. Then we went to Australia, and I was planning on, training and eating there. And where they put us up in hotels and things like that, that quickly became not an option. So we were, I'll call it working out because we surely weren't training. And an example start of the day was McDonald's for a few days. So the body declined very, very quickly. And that first set of pictures I sent to Chris, I was like, so that's a pro, huh?
What did you weigh going into it?
It's funny because I say small, but I was 289, but if I showed you the picture and then showed you a picture of me now at, 271, you would have guessed that I was 260 something. You know what I mean? It's just,
for sure.
It's definitely small. I have such glorious bone structure that I'm always heavy.
Now, who's in the Phoenix Pro? Any names that you've heard coming?
Actually, it seems like a decent start already, but more importantly, it's 2 weeks after the Olympia.
Right.
So I imagine some of the guys who, are on the West Coast that want to get a qualification before next year, it's kind of a good place to try. You're already in shape. You hold on your diet for 2 more weeks. You're already Olympia caliber guy. You know what I mean? I think if it was 3 or 4 weeks, we'd see more of the depth we saw last year. So I have tried to convince Jose to come do the Open with me, which most people would never understand because obviously I'm not pretending I'm going to beat Jose at a bodybuilding show. He's a friend of mine, and it's just something that if we don't get it done this year, I'll probably never compete with him. So it'd be worth the financial side to make that happen. So we'll see if he's feeling up to it, and I'm sure some of that's weighing on if he wins the Olympia in a week or this weekend.
Are you implying he's going to hang it up soon, or?
No, I'm implying that if he won the Olympia, I don't see him wanting to do shows in the Open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I follow for sure.
Yeah, no, Jose just seems to, honestly, and I know everyone always says this, but you'll definitely see, he's improved again. It just seems like he had to get to 40 for his body to decide to get better again.
Yeah, for sure. And now going back to, obviously, the big news of your offseason was you leaving your longtime sponsor, IFORCE, and going into Mutant. And obviously, Jose was with IFORCE too. Is he still with IFORCE?
No, he's not.
So basically, they just cut all the cool guys and decided to go with bikini chicks.
They cut all the paychecks.
They cut all paychecks.
Yeah, we were the only ones getting paid. So who's there now is, unless they gave them a check after we left, they're still hoping to get to that point, I guess. Yeah, so basically we got an email. Jose's contract was up. So
what's the timeline on this? Like, how far did you see it in advance? Did they spring it on you, or was it like
I had a month notice?
A month notice. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so my contract was supposed to be up end of December, and apparently there was a clause in my contract that they could cancel on 30-day notice at any time, which
that doesn't sound like a contract.
Exactly. But to be honest with you, when I got the email, that was I would say, I got an email that said, hey, as of August 1st, we're no longer having a professional athlete program. And
you said, I'll be an amateur again.
Yeah, I'll be an amateur and just keep paying me what you're paying me.
Right.
And I, what's funny though is I kind of saw it coming, because when you've got Jose and myself and you don't take us to Body Power or FIBO,
yeah,
and fans complain at FIBO, which is the first of the two, and you don't bring us again, you're obviously either trying to save money, which from my understanding, the company is doing very well. So I don't necessarily think that's it as far as like needing to save money. I just don't know that the owner really thought it was worth it anymore. I think that they think that bikini girls and Instagram fame will be enough. So, long story short, when I saw that, it was kind of writing on the wall. When they sent the email, I didn't really feel like fighting it, because we weren't growing anymore. I definitely had reached a point where when I stepped back and looked, I was like, nothing has really happened in the last 2 years to make me believe that they should pay me more in a year or two. We're not doing more videos. We're not doing more content. We keep talking about doing more, but we're not doing it. And I was really, I'll almost say typecast, because I was with IFORCE for 9 years. I was a little nervous as to how that was going to go when I reached out to some other places. The good news is, when I got that email, I hung up, closed down the email, thought about it for a minute, put together a cover letter on a marketing, I don't call it a sponsored athlete. I call it a athlete marketing position, which Ron got the email, so he could tell you about it. But, basically I break down what I do and how I'm going to create revenue for a company that they would not get without me. And literally break down to them how I'm going to pay for myself so they don't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to 3 companies, and all 3 companies wanted a deal. So it wasn't worrisome for very long. Mutant was my top choice, not because of anything other than I really think that they have a similar vision. I feel like I fit well. It was funny when I started just kind of teasing, because we had the deal done, at least verbally. I would say 8 out of 10 people guessed Mutant, and the other 2 guessed Universal Animal. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. The
fit was very, very apparent. I was laughing because you guys called your shot way early publicly. I was like, I told Ron, I said, he's just calling his shot. He's just pointing at the rafters. He's letting us know. He wants to make sure that he's not the guy that after the fact says, oh, I always knew, like everybody else. You're like, oh, no, I put it out there that I knew. So yeah, they actually were not the highest paying deal short term, but the best deal long term, I'm positive. So it was a really easy decision.
Will you mention the other 2?
I was talking to SciTech.
Okay.
Was one, and then the other one kind of asked that I keep it quiet. So, but the lady at SciTech that I was dealing with,
hold on, was it Evagen? It better not have been Evagen.
No. Okay. No. I don't think he would take me.
Your skin's not thin enough.
Yeah, exactly. I need more fish. Yes. I'm eating chicken right now, by the way.
I can hear your skin getting thicker with that chicken, bros.
Yeah. I'm never gonna win. No, so it was good though, and as usual, the nice thing is, and this is why I laugh, is everybody says that you can't make a living in bodybuilding. There's no money to be made. And, everyone I reached out to wanted to play, which tells me, no, it's just if you sit on your ass and do nothing, you can't make a living in bodybuilding.
Go back to IFORCE, though. I mean, you had mentioned, again, this might have been just bullshit for the internet, but you did say that there was a position they offered, but it wasn't in the same role. What was that about?
They wanted me to do their marketing for them.
And just be like a white-collar business guy and not even you be the face anymore?
Yeah, I mean, because I had, over the last 2 months, I had started helping them with their social media.
Okay.
And so they offered me a job doing that. I mean, it was fine. It was not, the problem was the way I explained it to them and they understood was, if I'm a salesman and I'm making $100,000 and you tell me, hey, your sales position is no longer here, but we've got this other position in marketing that you don't, that you like, but it's 50,000. Do you want to stick around and eventually get back to 100? Oh, but you're going to sell stuff too. Because that was another big area where I was like, but you're going to want to use my image and just pay me to do booths and things. Nah, I'm good.
So it's essentially, it was going to be your current gig and a new one rolled into one for less money?
Basically.
Gotcha.
So again, I mean, and that's not, I mean, I'll be honest with you, that's not how they would look at it. Of course, someone else would say, no, I mean, it was, I think it was legitimately put together as an opportunity, but it's not an opportunity I wanted. I mean, I can go make more money doing something else. I already know
pay for
that.
Pay or what?
I've heard they don't do that well anymore because, I'm ugly. But outside of that, I'd have a shot. No, but literally, there's other options I can make more money, obviously. So and that's how I declined, was just, yeah, but this isn't what I want to do. I've got a short window to do this. I want to do it well. And it was good. It wasn't a bad, the nice thing is, and of course, everyone wants there to be this huge fallout, and there wasn't. It was very, okay, I'm going to go this way, you guys go that way, good luck. And I think that they're actually making some changes that, as you guys know, in business like that, they take time to roll through. I don't think we'll see the changes that they're attempting to make until the fourth quarter or even in next year. So we'll see. But their products are still great, so I can't see. I'm not arrogant enough to pretend that it's going to slow them down. They got what they wanted out of me, and now they're going another route. It's just business.
You said it slowed down as far as the progression, and like you couldn't see getting a raise in a year or whatever because you've maxed it out. What would you have done, like, if you could go back in hindsight, what would you have done to keep, I don't even know what the right way to phrase it is, but just keep progressing towards a positive ROI?
I put too much in their hands because they wanted to do all my marketing on their, part of my contract was like my videos and stuff on their pages, and they were paying for all of those, which obviously is nice. I mean, they would fly Todd, this is my guy that does the majority of the filming, out here. We would film, but we weren't doing any more. In fact, we were starting to do less videos. Because it's a branding situation, I just don't know that it was black and white enough for them to look at it and feel like they knew what they were getting back. You know what I'm saying? As far as that marketing avenue. So it slowed down. What I should have been doing was doing my own. I should have been doing my own YouTube channels and things like that, which now I am doing, and that's going to help a ton. And we structured my deal with Mutant around me being able to continue doing that and grow my brand and theirs within it.
Dusty, is Mutant a company that's been on your radar, and you've been, I guess, through knowing people like Ron and stuff like that for a while? What were the main things that the brand represented that made you sort of respect them and even that put them in your brain first?
Is they're doing things that other companies are not doing. They seem, and don't get me wrong, I can honestly say, I'm sure you guys have had it because of Ron being affiliated. Their protein is the best tasting protein you've ever had in your life. But all that aside, their marketing is ridiculous. They're always one step ahead. They're doing live video now in the gym where fans can watch it happening, ask questions during the sets. Why are you doing it that way? The quality of their videos is nuts. The way they're doing their booths with interviews, the way they're willing to bring in athletes from other companies and give them exposure to build their brand. I mean, I feel like they have a vision, and they haven't even begun to tap into what they're planning on doing with that.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions. Was just how do you think how do you see yourself being used? Will it be what we've always grown to know, or we got new things planned?
I think it's going to be a little of both. It's going to be what I've always done, but more. We're looking at doing 4 videos a month with them. I'm getting to do a little more writing, which I actually like to do. It's funny because people who read the stuff I write can definitely tell you that formally, as far as punctuation, paragraph structure, all that, I'm not a good writer. I'm horrible at English. But I can get my point across, and people seem to really be able to read what I put down and get something from it. So it's kind of fun to do that as well. I like to occasionally get people to read again instead of watching and hearing everything.
Yeah, it's not that easy. We've learned.
But I found that you do get really good feedback on things like that. You get more, because everything else is a short attention span issue. You will get more back and forth from people in writing, if you give them the opportunity to put their 2 cents in. So it's going to be a lot more. I, on the schedule, don't have to travel as much, but I've already told them I would like to do every show that's possible. So it's better for me. The more I'm on the road, the better. I don't make a living bodybuilding from the stage.
Right.
It's from being out there. It's from meeting the fans, from doing all that. So I'll do as much of that as possible within, obviously, not screwing myself for preps and things like that.
I was going to say, what is the game plan now that you're a pro? Are you going to do like 1 show a year just to kind of keep good standing as a pro, or are you going to try and hit many?
My plan right now is to let this show roll through, see how it goes, let my off season kind of dictate when I compete again. But once I feel I've made enough changes that's a big difference between this show and the next one, what I'd like to do is be one of those guys who is chasing all the little shows, as opposed to having this pipe dream of winning the Olympia that's never going to happen. I'd like to hit 4, 5, 6 small shows that are all, within a couple of months every year, and just go until my body stops responding and then stop again. I mean, it's the best way for me to make as much money as possible, give the fans as much content as possible, because of course it's easier to give content when you're dieting and you can show change, and make a good living. For someone like me, sitting on the sidelines, slipping and falling for a qualification with Arnold, and then going to get my ass kicked doesn't pay me well. Yeah. Great. Your fans are like, oh yeah, Dusty looks a lot better. He's not a factor, but he looks a lot better. It's hard to get motivated by that. Whereas even this show, I'm not prepping for it for 5th. I'm going into it and saying there's a chance in the right lineup, when everything lines up, that I can win. I can be in that top 3, top 5. And anything less than that would be, failure in my opinion. Whereas these other shows, it's just very hard for me to go into like an Arnold Classic and say, man, if I could just get 10th.
Yeah.
It's like, well, dude, there's only 16 dudes. Like, really? That's your big goal, 10th? Well, it's reasonable.
Physique-wise, Dusty, are we going to see? Are the changes going to be dramatic to the point where we're going to see an amateur and now we're going to see pro physique, or is it just a gradual step as you were already sort of knocking on the national level door for a long time?
Actually, I think it's more drastic than I expected this time, and I don't know exactly. I couldn't even pinpoint to you why, but I'm going to be. It's funny because I don't know what happened, but I feel like even if you go back and look, like 2010, which was like the breakout year for me, although not my biggest, was my most polished look, where fullness, dryness, all of it was rolled into one. And then even when I won, it was good, but I didn't look at my pictures when I won and said, damn, like that was nuts. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm on track to have that effect again at this show. So it's going to be pretty drastic this time. Not necessarily on the scale or some huge change in size, but where it's placed. And then that's why I said I'm going to take an off season where my body dictates when I compete again, because the next show I do, I want there to be that drastic 10-pound, 12-pound change, because it's never going to get pretty, so it has to get bigger, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of not getting pretty, this is kind of off topic. Are you going bald with the new shaved head? What's going on?
I went bald long ago.
Oh, you went bald? Oh, wow. Because you had the little faux hawk and the little frosted tips, but all right.
Yeah,
just making sure.
My modeling days.
Right.
I get reminded every morning that I look like hell now.
You're not getting boy band audition offers anymore?
No, they stopped. It's crazy.
Hey, I want to circle back because a bit, funny ass story is the one that Ron Partlow told me on All Radio. He says to me, he's giving me the whole basic story of how he signed you, and he said there was some back and forth, and they flew you up to Vancouver, and he picked you up from the airport. I think he said he picked you up from the airport, and you guys stop off and get a Starbucks.
Of course.
And he tells us
rules.
That's the way, yeah. And he says, okay, so Dusty goes up and he orders, and he gets a quadruple. I think he said quadruple shot of espresso.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know why, but he said, hold the water and put ice in it. And if you put ice in it, it saves me 40 cents.
No. See,
he already butchered the story. Okay.
Yeah, he's killing me here, because this is something you guys. I'm giving you a gem right here. I'm saving you money. I'm changing lives here.
We got a lot of. I don't know if you know Blocks on the boards, but he's the cheapest person on the planet. So
he's probably going to hug me when
he will hug you. He'll blow you.
Well, because Starbucks is not an expense I can give up, so it's already an expensive habit. But if you go through an Americano, their fancy name is espresso and water. That is the ingredients of Americano. So if you go through and order a venti Americano, it's 4 shots and water. An iced venti, 4 shots, ice and water. You know what I mean? Pretty simple. If you go through the drive-thru and you order a venti, or I should say a 4 quad shot espresso in a venti cup with ice, it saves you 39 cents.
So all you got to do is just
in there yourself. There you go.
You just drop the Americano name. You're just paying for the name, essentially.
Yeah, and I figured that out. Actually, I'm sure she got fired, but the girl who told me that, I was like, wait a minute. I buy 2 of those a day. This is no bueno. So, yeah, we made the conversion. And I always have water in my car anyway, so no big deal. I just have to specify. And sometimes they get really crazy. They'll throw the cup out, put the cup out the window with barely any ice in it, because they just think I was dumb and ordered too big of a cup. I'm like, you got to fill that up. I need the ice to the top. It's a splash of water. I mean, it's probably 1.5 ounces of water that makes the cup full, and that's what they're charging me 40 cents for. I just have a hard.
So we're basically at 80 cents a day every day, I assume. So we're saving about $400.
Yeah.
No, about $275 or
well, no, because Evian gets them as well, my wife. So there's 3 of them a day.
Wow. Well, first of all, what's your blood pressure? Because that's a lot of fucking caffeine.
Oh, my body stopped worrying about that. I don't do the health thing as much as everybody else. I put 4 Splenda and 2 Sweet and Low in every one.
I'm still at 4 Splenda. Jeez.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, see, what Splenda mixes up in hot items, it kind of stays like sand at the bottom of cold. So you need that Sweet and Low. That pure cancer will dissolve in anything, because it's just trying to get in your blood and kill you.
Perfect.
What other gems do you have, by the way? Because these guys, I mean, I don't know if you followed the rising price of egg whites. Do you have any tricks on egg whites? Or
the only thing I do there is I buy them in the cartons now. And we go to that Restaurant Depot.
Yeah.
Because I have a business license, I can go to Restaurant Depot and buy things at their distributor costs, which saves me. So you can buy your liquid egg whites in the case, which is significantly cheaper.
So on average, how much money a year would you estimate you're saving by just doing all these Hebrew things?
Oh, at least $3,000 or $4,000.
Now, the same guy, Blocks, he's going to get a kick out of the mentions. He wants to know why the hell you're spending $4 on a cup of coffee in the first place if you're trying to be cheap. And he makes a good point.
Like I said, though, it's an addiction. You got to understand. I mean, if it's heroin, you're still taking it.
Everyone, please welcome new sponsor to Projectbodybuilding.com, AMP, AMP, Amplify Muscle Pumps. What is AMP and why is it better than the competition? AMP Muscle Pumps is the world's most advanced SEO on the market. AMP researchers have worked to eliminate many common problems in leading SEOs, such as pain, thickness of product, and the use of lidocaine. AMP provides a totally painless, amplified pump. Achieving such a perfect pump is done by formulating an ultra-thin solution unattainable by any other company. AMP can be used to improve lagging body parts, create symmetrical proportions, promote permanent muscle growth, and lubricate joints. AMP is 100% safe and sterile. No lidocaine, no MCT oil. Are you amped up yet? Visit them at www.amplifymusclepump.com. Hey guys, it's Matt Meinrod from All Bull Radio on Projectbodybuilding.com. I want to encourage you guys to check out a huge supporter of Projectbodybuilding.com. I'm talking about Mutant. Visit their website at IamMutant.com. It's IamMutant.com. If you like Ron Partlow, if you like Canada, if you like poutine, if you like t-shirts and supplements and badass videos, check out IamMutant.com. Do it today. They support Project Bodybuilding. They make podcasts available to all of you and make the site tick. It's IamMutant.com. Support them. You're supporting us. IamMutant.com.
Blackstone Labs is bodybuilding's leading source for hardcore legal supplements and the makers of Angel Dust, Ostapure, Cobra 6 Extreme, Apex Male, and over a dozen other products with cutting-edge ingredients that outlast and outshine the competition every time. Formerly the maker of the industry standard in pro hormones, Blackstone Labs has not fallen. In fact, after the dust has settled on gray area supplementation, Blackstone shines brighter and stronger than ever before. Visit blackstonelabs.com or click on the banners throughout Project Bodybuilding and experience bodybuilding science at its finest. That's blackstonelabs.com, the hardcore holy grail of bodybuilding supplements.
You couldn't make it at home, though?
What's that?
You couldn't just make your own espresso at home? Why do you have to go to Starbucks?
Well, because my dog goes for a ride with me.
Oh. You make common sense when you put it like that.
It's a social outing, Matt.
Yeah, Zoe needs to go. They have treats for her there. So she gets her treat. We start our day off in a good place. I mean, you don't piss the queen off first thing in the morning. Makes more sense.
We're talking about the dog, right?
Yes.
Okay, just kidding. The treat part threw me off, yeah.
She runs this house. We all know it.
It's not his wife.
No, that's what it is.
No, she just pays for the place. Her and I pay for the place. Zoe owns it.
So you're dying, is that what you're saying, though? You've accepted the fact that you're a bodybuilder and you'll die at 45 like everybody else?
With a bald head.
With a bald head. Because, that's the other hot topic on the forum is everybody's, I just saw the video you did. You're getting your cupping, I think it's called.
Yep.
Well, first of all, talk about your injury. How'd you do it? What'd you do to, just to hurt yourself? And the most important thing, though, is the therapy actually working, or is it like acupuncture and a bunch of shit?
Well, the injury was just, I had some tightness in my, and a lot of guys experience this where you get a tightness that's either pulling from your pec or your trap. And I was so tight that I was just stretching around it every day. And this is where my cheapness got a hold of me a little bit. I wasn't going and seeing my massage guy weekly like I usually do. And because I was transitioning, I wanted to make sure that I had funds coming back in again before I stopped. When I get paid pretty well for what I do. So when someone tells you they're no longer paying you anymore, you kind of cut back on the things you don't have to do until someone else tells you they are paying you.
You had me, you said transitioning for a minute. I immediately went to Caitlyn Jenner. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No. Not yet. Later in my career, if it starts to slow down, I got to do something ballsy like that. Keep them watching. But so yeah, I wasn't getting massage work done. It was getting tight. And actually, I told Ron when I got up there, and this is actually the first sign of this being a bigger issue than I knew, was I got to Vancouver and I'm stretching out. I told him I got to stretch my trap and my shoulder's just tight, so let me get that going. it felt loose enough. And we were talking before because Ron was just going to spot me, and he said, all right, well, what are we looking for weights wise? And I said, I don't know. I'm not going to go crazy heavy. Probably either 315 on the incline and control, maybe 365. That's about it. So when we got to incline, 225 felt heavy. I was like, man, like that just doesn't feel quite right, you know? So I told Ron, I said, you know, let's go to 275 and just, we'll call it a day there. And I didn't think anything of it. Just figured I was being a puss. And we went on and kept training, get to dumbbells, and literally 120-pound dumbbells were just heavy. He had to do a couple force reps. And on the last force rep, we're doing a negative, and the dumbbell actually started to rotate backwards, like up towards my shoulder, elbow go forward, dumbbell go the other direction. So thankfully, it's not my first big day. I just pulled my arm out of there so I didn't hurt my shoulder. But that's never, ever, ever, ever happened. I mean, that's like a lack of control of muscle issue. So that was kind of alarming, but I didn't think too much of it. And then it wasn't until the following week when I got back home, I was doing back, and I couldn't pull evenly. My right side had almost no power, like none, to the point that I literally was like, there was a massage woman in the gym that I knew who was pretty big lady, and I knew she could work heavily in the area and she had tools. I grabbed her and said, what time can you get me in today? Because I knew my guy wouldn't be able to get me in the same day. She worked on me for 2 hours. The next day I came in, we did chest, and I worked up to 315. I got it for 2 with help. And that's, for me, pathetic. So I literally picked up my phone, called my massage guy, and said, okay, when can you get me in today? I went in that day and the next morning with very little change from those. And then we rotated into when I was in Pittsburgh, I decided maybe it was a mineral issue. So I went and got amino drip with basically everything under the sun put into my body. That helped. I felt better, but it didn't change anything with the shoulder. And then finally the cupping and needling was the first thing where we did it. And the very next day there was a lot of change. It's still nowhere. I've had 2 sessions with that. It's still nowhere near 100%. Like I've got it on my arm on the table right now. It's throbbing, but it's definitely heading in the right direction, which is good. Because when something actually shuts down power in your entire side, it definitely gets in your brain a little bit because it's a different injury. You know, you can't even hold your dumbbells as well in your grip. Makes you a little worried about, okay, what the hell is getting blocked off here that my forearm is an issue from my trap? You know what I mean? So, did you
have like MRI or anything to actually take a look and see what it was?
I haven't yet. Because it's improving, I'm more concerned with just keeping that going on. And I'm not seeing, last night we did progress pictures, and it was the first time that I could open up again. It's funny too, because I put up a big thing. I was going to do a weekly update, and I can't even pose. I mean, I can't get my right side to open whatsoever. And I was like, okay, once this is healed, I'll put all those pictures out there. But until then, I'm going to hold off because I had no feeling to it. You know, I'd be facing the back, training partner's taking my pictures, and he's like, okay, your right side is 4 inches higher than your left.
Wow.
And I can't feel that, which, you know, I mean, if you've been doing this for any length of time, you more or less know where your body's at. And I was like, this is a problem because I don't even realize I'm shrugging my right side.
Hey, Taylor, do you think these are built-in excuses?
Like, it was better than the whole food poisoning one, he said.
Yeah.
This is what Hani told me to say when he offered me a contract. I don't know.
That's part of your deal. As soon as you send the PayPal over, you get the excuse list.
Exactly. It's the Phil Heath 2009.
I'm kind of curious. The cupping, I don't know a whole lot about that. What exactly does that offer that the other ones don't?
Cupping, just all they're doing essentially is separating your skin, pulling it away from your body to get fluid and blood and everything in there. And it helps because it's a circulation issue. So what's interesting is after you get cupping done, you'll have little, I mean, they're like hickeys almost everywhere the cups were, but where you have better circulation, you almost can't see them. And then, like, I put a picture up on Instagram the other day of one up on the top of my trap, and it looks like I got the perfectly circled giant hickey on my trap. You know, I mean, it's still dark. I got that done Friday, so it's Monday now, and it still looks the same. I mean, it's dark. It could take 12 days for that thing to go away.
Is there any atrophy going on, or is it just you're lopsided?
I'm just lopsided right now. I don't see any atrophy, thank God. I just hope we can fix it before that happens. I mean, I'm still able to, all I've had to do is I'm using machines. I'm really being focused on feeling the muscle, you know, because I can't worry about weight, because if I do that, it's just going to be whatever I have to do to get it to move. And I probably will see almost immediate atrophy at that point. So I'm just focusing on, okay, am I feeling this where I'm supposed to be? I'm doing as many as I can, any form of drop set or whatever I have to do to get blood in there. And I'm fortunate because my upper body is so much better than my lower body that what's beautiful is my leg training has not been affected whatsoever. So if you're going to have an issue like this for someone like me, this is your best option. If it was in my legs, I'd be screwed. If they drop a half inch, I'm in trouble. They're already too small. So
Taylor, let's get them on Olympia. The show is a week away. Unfortunately, by the time we air this show, it'll be a week after the Olympia. But what are your thoughts, Dusty, on this whole Kai thing? That's kind of been the swirling around. First of all, do you know all the details yet, or?
Yeah, I got the basic gist of it. I mean, I think for me, it's pretty simple. I think Kai is becoming a business. You know, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like some of the things he's doing. To me, he's reaching the point where, unlike a lot of guys, he's kind of going to be able to do whatever he wants. You know, his fan base is only getting stronger. You know, but what do I think is going to happen? He's going to do the Olympia.
Oh, really? So you think AMI and the Olympia is going to cave?
Well, from what I understand, all he has to do is get the contract in by Wednesday.
Oh, so they extended it for him. Okay.
Yeah, so as long as he gets it in by Wednesday, he's good to go. I can't see him leaving the money on the table. I can't see him disappointing his fans. You know, I can't. There's too many things that don't make sense. I can't imagine going through a prep, putting all that into it, because it's not like he looks like shit. I know everybody wants to look at one picture and say, oh, see, he doesn't look great. Well, we just saw a picture 2 weeks ago from NFL Countdown where he looked like he could beat anyone.
Right.
Minus Ronnie Coleman. So, you know, I just can't see him leaving it on the table. I think he'll do it, and I think that it's publicity, and any publicity in a transition like he's in is beautiful.
Can he win, though?
No.
I didn't think so either. Can anybody beat Phil this year?
Roden.
You think so, huh?
Yeah, I think that Roden dead on. If they'll the thing is if you look, they've never compared him directly with Phil. And as anyone will tell you, I mean, and this is just I think anyone in the know will say, when someone makes a comment like they're not a threat, that means they're afraid of them.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just like, if you remember back in the day when Jay was chasing Ronnie, what did Ronnie say? Who is the threat to be the Olympia next? Victor Martinez. He wouldn't even say the most sensible, obvious answer was Jay, because Jay was chasing. He was chasing hard, and he believed he could do it. Same scenario. And knowing Sean and knowing Chris, a gear has changed in Sean, because I think before he believed in Chris, he believed that Chris believed he could win, but I don't think he necessarily did. And this year, I think Sean believes he can win, which means he's going to have a totally different look that you haven't seen before. He's a lot bigger. I'll tell you that. He's a lot bigger.
Well, he's going to need to be, because he, you know, if it's the 15 pounds that I've heard, and if it's all on his back, I think he can do it. But we hear 15 pounds, and then it's really like 3 pounds, and you don't even notice it. So
yeah, I never worry about the numbers, because, you know, nobody really Well, here's what really matters. If it was 5 and it looked like 15, you'd be fine. If it was 15 and it looked like 5, it wouldn't matter.
Very
so
true.
then it's where it goes and what it does to his whole physique, you know? I do think that it's not possible for him to win a rear double in one season against Phil. It's just not going to happen. His back is too weak in comparison, but that's still 2 poses. You know, let's just assume he loses the rear double and the rear lat. That's still only 2. So I think that if anybody has a shot, it's him. And I'd die and go to heaven if Roden was able to win that. I mean,
you fucking hate Phil, don't you? I love that.
You know, my issue is because I think it's a double, and I think a lot of people probably feel the same way without even necessarily realizing it. Is he followed in the footsteps of Jay, and we miss Jay. You know, you miss wanting to see the guy. You miss the guy who controlled, who had people had so much respect for him. Phil has actually never been anything but nice to me, but I'm talking about his job and what he does and how he comes off. And I don't mean in the movie, everybody, oh, that was high. No, I mean, I've seen him. You know, it's just not the same. I mean, he's in an amazing position. And, you know, when you look, I mean, a perfect example is I know people in Colorado who were screaming his name from the moment he turned pro, and he was going to be this and he was going to be that. And then you reach out to him and you're like, hey, how's Phil? I don't talk to him anymore.
Oh, wow.
So obviously he's changed, whether he wants to admit it or not, because your biggest supporters don't support you anymore. That's a telling story, you know, because I've made a lot of dumb mistakes and, you know, professionally, personally, all these things, and all the people who had my back in the beginning still do. So what exactly does one have to do to piss off that many people and have them turn their backs, you know?
Fucking a lot of people's girlfriends, probably.
I'll do it.
The funny thing is that you mentioned it is even Jay used to be very even when Phil was coming up to kick his ass, Jay was almost ready to hand it over. But not to be a conspiracy theorist, but you don't even really see Jay give too much props or even mention Phil's name much anymore, as strange as that might be.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely interesting. I just think it was and maybe it's our fault, but I think that there was an expectation for what he should bring to the table, and it's not what came.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
What about 212? Do you really think your boy can beat Flex?
I do, but it's interesting because, number one, I talk to both of them all the time, and if I've seen Jose, so I do know Jose is the best he's ever been by a long shot, and he doesn't look like he can make 212. He will, but he'll probably make it by a pound or two, but it doesn't look feasible. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But I was talking to Flex yesterday, and he said the same. You know, because I asked him, I just said that, you know, it's got to be an extra motivation. You know, you've got the baby on the way, you got this, that, and I know Flex and the kind of, you know, person he is on more of a personal level. And he said essentially that, he's shocked at how easy this prep has been with all those things kind of help driving him, you know, and the support. His wife seems to really get it and do a ton of stuff as well. I don't know if they're married yet or just engaged, but anyways.
Boy, she's hot though, isn't she? Whew. Oh, man.
Well, I didn't think he was going to marry an ugly woman.
Yeah, well, you never know.
But no, so if everybody brings what they had as of Sunday, you know, the more polished exact version, I definitely can say I think those two will be so far ahead of everyone else that it'll really solidify. So if nothing else, it'll be awesome to have a definitive 1-2. You know, now
I think Eduardo's going to look pretty good.
He will, but I just, you know, I'm not hearing as much about him, and
True.
You know,
he had that fucked up arm too.
Yeah, I hope. If it
there's
doesn't
things that are falling apart. I think Eduardo is Eduardo. He's always gnarly. You know, I think and I think David Henry's going to bring a much improved look, because a lot of people didn't realize that he moved last year. He had so many things going that weren't bodybuilding that I expect to see the old David Henry as well. but I just don't think that that those guys are complete enough head to toe to stand with Jose, and I mean Flex, of course. So I really think it's going to be a 1-2 battle. If it's close, they'll give it to Flex, you know. But
how jaded are you, man? Do you think like is it really fair? Like, do we really think Flex and Phil can get beat, or is it just all formalities at this point? Because you know the old adage, like, oh, you got to knock out the champ. Like, really though? I mean, would you ever see a day where like if an equal Jose goes up against an equal defending champion Flex, that they'll actually give it to like the underdog?
This is tricky, but I say no, but it's not for the jaded reason that people expect. For example, with Jose and Flex, and Jose will tell you this because I say it all the time to him, is the game has changed. The world has changed. It's just like business. You have to adapt. And Jose is as old school as possible. He hates social media. He doesn't want to take pictures when he's working out. He wants to train, eat, and bodybuild and show up, kick everyone's ass, and leave. The fans are dying. This in our sport, they get to know you. You get to, you know, we're tangible. We can be talked to. We can be touched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're even the very, very best in the world. Flex Lewis can respond to your text on his picture. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Might not actually be him, but no, I'm kidding. I do know it's Flex because he and I go back and forth. But you know, in all honesty, like there's no other sport that's big enough to feel big, but small enough for that to happen. You know, A-Rod ain't tweeting you, I promise. You know what I'm saying? So
I got a tweet once from Ronda Rousey though before she was famous, and it was pretty cool.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I just want to put that out.
Still the top thing on his resume.
I don't think that, in my opinion, and Jose will kill me for saying this, but if it's a tie, I'm going to have to say that I would go to the guy who's spreading bodybuilding in the biggest possible way, because Jose is like a Dorian. He disappears and then he comes back better.
Well, then that just brings the argument though. Like again, I think Kai's going to compete. Kai has a much bigger following, in my opinion. I mean, he's on freaking NFL ESPN Sunday. You know, like the guy is pretty much he's like DLB, or he's like Jay, where he's transcending, where like average people know his name.
Yeah.
Why would he not get the victory? I mean, does it really just come back to him fucking a grapefruit?
I don't even think that matters anymore, to be honest with you.
Neither do I, but I mean, it's got to be something, because when you're talking about the reach.
I just don't know that he, in all honesty, and I know there's a big conspiracy theory, I don't think he's beat him yet decisively. You know, the 1 year that it was really close after prejudging, he was not, I mean, and I was a Kai supporter. I can't remember what that was, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. He came back flat the next day and Phil beat him. And I would argue Phil did beat him. So I don't have the same conspiracy thought as a lot of people, because, you know, even with myself, I always look and say, okay, why didn't I win? How can I justify Phil's win here? And I can usually find a way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's conspiracy. I think that they're looking at two guys and Kai hasn't done enough to do it. And maybe that's what confuses people so much, is he does have a bigger fan base, and everyone does know that Phil's, although he has a huge fan base, he has plenty of people that openly disdain him. So if it was a conspiracy, it'd be in the IFBB's best interest to get Phil out of there, but they don't.
Good point. Hey, Taylor, you want to get him with any more questions before we do 10 questions and let him out of here?
I liked your any chance you'll move to Canada question with Mutant. I thought that was funny.
Oh, yeah.
No. Moving on.
Hey. Fuck.
That's awesome. All right, well, you know how the game works. We got 10 questions. Taylor, cue the music.
Ding dong.
It's cued. All right. Question number 1. And you played this game, I believe, before.
Yes, I have.
Question number 1. You have to choose between one or the other here. Fuck Iris Kyle and get $1 million, or fuck the bikini or figure girl of your choice, but you have to do roadside trash pickup for 6 months.
Iris. I tell my friends about it too.
And you're a businessman, so right. All right, question number 2. Another choice here. Free Serostim for life or never have to worry about getting cancer. Which would you choose?
Ooh. Serostim.
I love that you think about it.
If you've ever had Serostim, you'd understand. Serostim.
Serostim for life. There's chemotherapy. All right. Question number 3. Would you do 1 year in jail to own every Starbucks in Scottsdale?
Yes. Do you know how much money that is?
I read that to my wife, and she said the same thing.
my dog is over here nodding. Yes, he would.
A year in jail. I love it. Okay. Question number 4. Would you eat your own poop if it was proven to thin the skin?
Absolutely not. I'm not good at this anyways.
All right. Question number 5. Who is, in your opinion, the best looking male guru?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You know what? Out of jealousy, sheer jealousy, I'm gonna go with Aceto because look at that hair.
He does have a good hair.
Especially 90s era Aceto. That was he had it going on there.
Plus, he's looked the same for like 30 years.
Well, you know who he looks like? He looks like Dave Coulier from Full House, Uncle Joey.
That's classic.
All right, here we go. Question number 6. This is a true or false. True or false? Bald men are sexy.
True, as long as we're all lying.
Ooh.
Meaning false. Everyone looks better with hair, except for there's like 3 people that pull it off. Especially if we're talking about us white guys. The black guys pull it off awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Like we depend on our hair because we're not. Yeah, absolutely false. I don't have any hair. I can say that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
True or false? Question number 7. True or false? You found your flavor saver to come in handy at times.
Absolutely, especially during the diet. Sometimes I stumble on it and like, what was that? That's fantastic.
Get some off-season food stuck in there. All right.
Hopefully it's saved.
This is a question number 8. This is an over or under 10. So over or under 10 that you've called mutant nutrition on accident.
Never.
Wow.
That's how he got the job.
Yeah, let's do a bonus one. Do you know the URL for the Mutant website?
I know where I can send people to buy things. IamMutant.com.
Look at that. Look at the plug.
Then give me a discount code. Bam. Dusty20 saves them cash. Save you 20% on non-sale items. Don't forget me.
Look at you. You're just meant for this job. Okay. Question number 9. If you had to do life in jail and can pick your cellmate, but your options were Chris Aceto, Ron Partlow, or Jose Raymond, who would you choose and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. Man.
Life in jail.
Life in jail. It's kind of a double whammy because I feel like I'm pulling them into this life in jail thing with me.
You are, but you're not only you're picking a companion, sex partner, a workout partner.
All right, this is actually, it just got easier the longer I thought about it because Jose snores like a freight train. So he's out. And I love Jose, but that's a deal breaker right there, you know? I'm going to go with Chris because, Chris could probably, number one, stories for days. I don't even think he sleeps, let alone snores, so that's good. And he definitely has a way with the finances, so I imagine that he can work some deals and I can get cigarettes and everything I need.
Right.
Pretty well with him.
Plus, he's a spinner.
Valid. I don't have to worry about taking it. All right, good.
You're a power top anyway. All right. This we talked about question number 10 in the show, but I'll read it anyway just for sake of it. First reaction: Kai not doing the Olympia. What was your first reaction?
Publicity.
Yeah. And we got a bonus question here. It's from Nacho Libre from the board. He wants to know, why is Dusty's tramp stamp so high on his back?
Well, I missed, and it was a cheap tattoo parlor. Actually, it's funny because I was looking at the video we put up today, and I was like, I wonder how I can get rid of that thing. There's a story behind this. You'll love the logic of a 18-year-old. My cousin was in town, and she wanted to get her first tattoo. She's like, I'm nervous. And I looked, I was like, I'll get one. Okay. And then I drew something up real quick and handed it to the guy, and that was that. I mean, it was a 5-minute decision.
Well, you'll have the rest of your life. Yeah.
Take notes, kids. That was genius.
Hey, man, well, go ahead. We've already plugged Mutant a lot, but go ahead and plug a little bit more. And, oh, by the way, question for you. Since you have a show in 4 weeks, I assume you're going to be at the booth, but are you not?
Yes. Nope. I'll be there. We leave Thursday, so I'll be down there this weekend. I'm going to be in and out. They're not making me stay the whole day, which is beautiful. So I'll probably do about 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon each day.
Very cool. Very cool. So, all right. If you want to plug anybody, let everybody know how they can reach you on all your social media outlets, and we'll let you get out of here.
Absolutely. Well, first, of course, Mutant. Make sure to check out all their stuff. Like we said earlier, IamMutant.com, and you can use my discount code Dusty20 to save 20% off of everything. Then just signed a new deal with Iron Rebel, and you can check them out as well on all the social medias. They are a straps and all equipment company that's also getting into clothing now. So I'll be at their booth this weekend at the Olympia as well. They're transitioning into bodybuilding. They actually signed Jose and myself, Fuad Abiad, and John Meadows this week.
What a crew.
Yeah, they definitely went with all the handsome ones. Yikes. Yeah, so of course, grab me on all my social media, which is just Dusty Hanshaw. I got real creative with the name. And I think the only one that's different is my Instagram, because I needed some numbers. So it's Dusty Hanshaw08. And you'll find regular updates essentially on what my food looks like constantly, and then every now and then a picture of me.
Beautiful. You're a handsome man. You're a great guy for being on the show, and I wish you best in placing top 10 at the Phoenix.
Love it. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, you bet, guys. And all right, we'll be right back after these words with our third guest.